Welcome back. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. Bangladesh is bracing for a pivotal moment today as the International Crimes Tribunal delivers its long-awaited verdict against ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on charges of crimes against humanity, including murder, torture and mass killings during last year's deadly student-led uprising that claimed up to 1,400 lives and forced her 15-year rule to collapse in August 2024. Now, Hasina, now exiled in India and facing the death penalty sought by prosecutors, denies the politically motivated allegations tied to her government's brutal crackdown on protesters. Tensions have boiled over into widespread violence across the country, with Awami League supporters enforcing shutdowns amid reports of vehicles set ablaze, crude bomb blasts near Dhaka University and the airport, injuring several. Stone planting clashes have also been reported. Road blockades have been there by felled trees and arson on buses and government buildings, prompting the Yunus-led interim administration to declare a high alert, deploying army and border guards and authorizing Dhaka police to open fire on violent mobs. With that, let's take a look at the charges on Sheikh Hasina. Remember, today is that very important verdict, November the 17th, when we will know if these charges actually will be put up against her. Now, Sheikh Hasina denies all these charges. However, remember that these are some of the charges that have been put against her. Overall indictment is crimes against humanity under 5 counts related to the 2024 July uprising, crackdown that killed almost 1,400 civilians. Now, remember, in July last year, there were a lot of uprisings and all of the criticisms that come over here against Sheikh Hasina were because of the brutal crackdown by her government against them. There were around 1,400 lives that were lost, and that's why that first count of crime against humanity was put against her. Now, when we looked at count 1, instigating systematic attacks on unarmed protesters post July 14, 2024, press briefing via abetment by officials. So, she has been, the first count is instigating all of these things. The next count is directing the use of helicopters, drones and lethal weapons to eliminate student protesters. Remember that in 2024 these protests were led by students. So, the second count that she is being charged of is that she made the use of helicopters, drones and other lethal weapons against students by her government. The third count is that she ordered the killings of around 1,400 people to suppress anti-government demonstrations. Now, this is another serious allegations or charge that has been put, that she was actually murdering those students over there. Remember that Sheikh Hasina is denying all these charges and she says that it is all politically motivated. Her government was not involved in any of those violent crackdowns. The fourth count is that she authorized brutal force, including shootings and beatings against demonstrators. So, use of brutal force like shooting and instigating all those protesters, the forces against the protesters is another count that has been put against her. Count number 5, oversight of body incinerations, denial of medical and aid and joint criminal enterprise as Prime Minister. So, now this is one of the major charges that has been put against her, that she denied all the medical aid to those who were injured in these protests, and also that there was an oversight over body incinerations and there was denial of medical aid and joint criminal enterprise as Prime Minister. So, these are some major allegations and charges that have been put against Sheikh Hasina. Remember that these charges are what the court will be hearing today, and this is the verdict will be delivered over here today, and that's what everyone is in fact waiting for. Joining me on the broadcast is Shanta Farjana, Senior Vice Chairman, Natund Dhara, Bangladesh, NDB. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. However, it comes at a very interesting moment. We are all awaiting that verdict that is coming in today. And we know that Sheikh Hasina has denied all the charges. She says that these are all politically motivated. How do you see the situation in Bangladesh as of now? Because we are seeing that it has been witnessing a lot of violent clashes again over the past few days.
Thank you very much, everybody in NewsX Bulletin. We are waiting for the announcement of the verdict in the case against dictator Sheikh Hasina. Of course, we definitely expect an updated verdict. We don't want any biased verdict. And you know, the Sheikh Hasina and Awami League has done so many crimes last 16 years. Of course, they were dictator and they have do so many bad things on us. Even though 2 days before they have called lockdown and today they have called shutdown. This kind of ferocious thing, people become scared, apprehensive. But one more thing I want to add with this, because you know, the murder of killings during the mass revolt is still not clear, because some July warrior, they're claiming the number of murder is 800. Some July warrior, they're claiming the murder is 1200. Some they're saying the murder is 2000. And some they're saying the murder is 1000. This July warrior, they themselves, they killed police, they put fire in our metro rail. They bomb burst in our Bangladesh television. Yes, so even the 1st July, the dead body, Abu Said's death is mysterious also. So we are waiting, of course we are waiting, but I want to say one more thing, that last 16 months under Yunus government, we are not safe at all also. So-called Islamic party imaginary rules and regulation they put on us. You know, this Islamic, they are the party, they are saying the women, they should not go out, the women, they should put hijab and burqa and everything. Even in the Cox's Bazar, they're beating women and everything. We don't need this kind of things. We need, in this last 16 months, during the Nobel laureate Yunus government, robbery, murder, plunder is happening in front of everybody. There is no rules, no law, no police, nothing. We are not safe in our country at all.
Absolutely, ma'am. We have been seeing that there have been violent protests over there inside your country currently as well. And we have been seeing a lot of protests against the Yunus-led interim government as well. But how do you see that this is a very politically charged trial that we are witnessing? Do you still believe that the punishment that these prosecutors are seeking of death penalty is feasible in the kind of environment that the country currently is in? A very quick answer before I move on to my next guest, ma'am.
No. Whatever the verdict it will be, the plunder is still it will be happening in our country, because Awami League, they are calling lockdown, shutdown. They will do that, and the Bangladesh police, they cannot control anything. Mr. Yunus, he could not control anything. He is also biased, and everybody, all police and all, they are biased also. So we think whatever the verdict it will be, we can't get any peace in our country. We need election.
Right. Please do stay on with us, ma'am. We have Rami Desai also joining us on the broadcast. She is a distinguished fellow, India Foundation, Bangladesh and Myanmar expert as well. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us on this broadcast. We are trying to understand how this verdict will have, the effect that it will have on this Bangladesh. It's currently very charged. The atmosphere is very similar to what was there in 2024. How do you look at this verdict, ma'am, today, this very crucial verdict that's coming out?
Good morning, first of all. I think, we are all in agreement that this is really pretty much a witch hunt. And it's happening very close to the proposed elections. And I think it's politically motivated. The repercussions of this verdict are going to be immense. Bangladesh is already tense. Bangladesh is politically fractured at this point, and with the ouster of Sheikh Hasina and Awami League in a disarray, there's a lot of discontent on ground. So I think, the verdict, the legitimacy of the verdict aside, the repercussions of the verdict on the stability of Bangladesh are going to be immense. And one must pray and hope that, things don't get out of hand. But having said that, one must also question the legitimacy of this verdict. ICJ, for all practical purposes, cannot really enforce anything. It can only pass a judgment, and there have been many, many occasions before when political power, influence has, completely disregarded the verdict that ICJ has brought forth. US in Nicaragua being one of the prime examples. But the fact that, these verdicts can be vetoed out of sheer political influence makes the verdict itself very questionable. I think the Yunus-led interim government is doing a great disservice to the country and to its symbols of democracy on an international stage. So I think all of this should be taken with a pinch of salt, but without really minimizing the impact that it may have on ground tonight.
Right. Ma'am, please do stay on with us as I just go across for a short bit to Shanta Farjana, who's also there with us on this broadcast. Ma'am, I want to understand, you stated that you want elections in the country because earlier as well there was nothing right, and even under the interim government, nothing is wrong. We are having shoot-at-sight orders from violent mobs right now. So going forward, do you think that fair elections can be held in your country? There is a political party which has been banned from participating. Do you think free and fair elections can be held?
I don't think so at all, because this interim government, they cannot control anything, how they can call a fair election. And they are calling election and gonna vote, the vote is calling, they called in same day. People in our country, they don't understand what is gonna vote. Yeah, but they are calling that everything will be happening same day. That it will be another biased election. I think Dr. Mohammed Yunus, he want to stay in our country for next 5 years, and he is another dictator. In last 16 months, we have seen that he is another dictator person in our country, and the election it will not be happen proper election. I don't think so. We don't think so.
Right. Rami Desai, I want to come back across to you now. Do you believe that fair elections can be held given the circumstances? Because as you have been saying a lot, there's been a lot of criticism if this is a fair trial that's being conducted or this is just politically motivated. And we are seeing a lot of violent protests across the country. What is the solution over here?
First of all, I'd like to say, Farzana, I hope she's not in Dhaka, because all of us sitting here also worry for people who are speaking out against the interim government. And the fact that we are worried that brave ladies like her are speaking out against the interim government tells us that it's not a safe environment, tells us that it is not an interim government that promised everything that they believed that Sheikh Hasina-led government wasn't. They came up, the regime change itself happened on the basis of the fact that democracy was being violated, that there was violence being perpetrated by the government itself against its own people, and that's exactly what I see happening on ground. So the question of this being a free and fair election doesn't happen if the population itself lives in this sort of fear. Having said that, the fact that Awami League is probably not going to contest that Sheikh Hasina or any of her party leadership will not feel safe enough to come back to Bangladesh, even if they were allowed to contest, that cadre will not feel safe to, come out openly in favor of their chosen political party, tells us that it will not be a free and fair election. Also, the fact we must also remember that the treatment of minorities under the interim government, which has anyway overextended its stay, is a big question mark and should be brought forth on the international stage. While we are talking about Sheikh Hasina and ICJ, what is the responsibility that Mr. Mohammed Yunus himself will take for all the atrocities that have taken place under his governance? So I think these are very important questions to ask. I think we must be very wary about international interference in these elections as well. And for India, we do not, we do not ever interfere in our neighborhood and its internal matters, but it is a matter of concern for us. The stability, the political stability, the internal security of countries that share huge boundaries with us. So I think for India, it's a wait and watch situation. For Bangladesh, it's a very, very tense situation. And I think the question of a free and fair election, the results of that will be out there in the open to see. Even the fact that whether an election will happen or not is a big question mark at this point.
Absolutely. We can see that the country is on the edge. We are seeing a lot of protests as well that is currently underway. If I go across back, I want to understand and in fact ask you the same question. If you are still in Bangladesh, what is the ground situation? How do you see this resolving itself? Because there can't be free and fair elections. Then we have Yunus also in fact promising that he won't hold elections until reforms are in place. Now, what these reforms are that we have been seeing, he has been stating that there are institutions that were molded by Sheikh Hasina and he wants to change all of that. He wants to bring in reforms. However, unfortunately, I'm so sorry, we have run out of time. We have to move on in this show. I thank both my guests for joining us. We will continue this after the verdict comes out. Bangladesh is under heightened security ahead of the verdict against deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina due in the next hour. She is being tried in absentia by a special tribunal for alleged crimes against humanity linked to last year's violent crackdown on student-led protests that toppled her government. Outside the International Crimes Tribunal, rows of armed security personnel and riot police stand guard, while checkpoints have been set up across Dhaka near government offices. Dozens of Awami League supporters have been detained on suspicion of planning unrest. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty, alleging that the crackdown was carried out by Sheikh Hasina's and her orders. Now, the former leader denies all charges. The United Nations had reported that hundreds were killed during the protest, which ended with Hasina fleeing to India, where she remains in exile. Joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Brian Thomas with more details on this. Brian, security has been tightened around ICT. We are hearing that a lot of police force, a lot of police and all security personnel have been deployed over there as we are expecting the verdict in another hour or so.
Well, clearly a very crucial moment for Bangladesh where the ICT will be now announcing its verdict anytime soon. Clearly, as you mentioned, yes, security has been tightened nationwide with forces deployed around Dhaka and key government facilities ahead of the ruling. Not only that, Bangladesh is clearly on the edge right now. Explosions, arson, road blockage, and violent street clashes have broken out as the country braces for the verdict. Authorities remain on high alert with police, paramilitary units even instructed to act swiftly to prevent escalation. Clearly, this is the situation right now as we are speaking. Clear barricading have been done, heavy deployment of arsons, army personals, guards have been all deployed for the verdict that is going to come anytime soon now. Yes.
Absolutely, Brian. Thank you so much for all those updates on that story. We're shifting focus now to the Saudi Arabia accident. Amidst the devastating Saudi Arabia bus crash, one of the victims of the crash's family has spoken on this. He stated that they traveled from the bus service and there were 47 members who were traveling in the bus, and it was going from Mecca to Medina. It departed on the 9th of November. He stated that the accident took place 25 kilometers before the destination. He also added that as soon as they received information about the crash, they immediately spoke to the authorities. They stated that they are unaware of the ongoings at the crash site as of now. However, they do not know the details of the crash or the condition of their family members. He stated that he had 7 of his relatives who were traveling in that bus. Let's in fact listen into what else he had to say.
6 मेंबर का एक काफिला हज और उम्रे के लिए उम्रे की नीयत से निकला था अलमक्का टूर्स एंड ट्रैवल से, जिसमें 45 टू 46 मेंबर्स थे, जिसमें जो है मक्के से मदीना मुनव्वरा जा रहा था। 9 नवंबर को निकला। मदीना मुनव्वरा से 25 किलोमीटर पहले एक वाकया पेश आया जिसके अंदर कार जो है जल गई। उसमें बहुत सारों के फैमिली मेंबर्स थे, मेरे 7 मेंबर्स है उसके अंदर। तो जैसे इत्तला हमको सुबह पहुंची, हम यहाँ पे पहुंचे एजेंट के पास, इनसे बात की और फिर उसके बाद हमने असद साहब को कॉल किया, वो वहाँ के अहदेदारों से बात किए, फिर वहाँ के ज़रिए से जो है मुश्ताक साहब से बात हुई, फिर जफ़र साहब यहाँ पर पहुँचे, कोशिश कर रहे हैं, वहाँ के फ़ोटोज़ वीडियोज़ पहुँचे। वहाँ की सिचुएशन अभी हमको नहीं मालूम है क्या सिचुएशन है। सुना है 2 से 3 हॉस्पिटल्स के अंदर हमारे पैसेंजर्स को या पेशेंट्स को रखा गया है। उनकी कंडीशन कैसी है इसका कुछ भी इल्म हमारे पास अभी नहीं है।
7 मेंबर्स में से कौन कौन थे आपके?
मेरे मामा मामी और भी मेरे रिलेटिव्स है, पूरे करीबी रिलेटिव है मेरे इसके अंदर। इसमें जो मोहम्मद अली है, शहनाज बेगम है, मस्तान अली है और ज़किया बेगम है, मोहम्मद शोएब है और परवीन बेगम है। ये मेरी फैमिली के मेंबर्स
लोग कहाँ रहते थे?
ये इसमें से 3 मेंबर्स तो मेरे फलकनुमा में रहते हैं, 2 मेंबर जो है एक मेंबर चिंतलमेंट में, 2 मेंबर झिर्रे में रहते हैं। 9 नवंबर को निकले थे हैदराबाद से। मक्के को जो है कल रात में मक्के से मदीना मुनव्वरा जा रहे थे।
All right, Raj, so now we are hearing the victim families statements over there. They are obviously, they said that they are aware of the accident. However, the status of their relatives is still not known. Raj.
Indian Umrah pilgrims here dead after the bus collided with the diesel tanker near Medina. So the accident took place early in the morning around 1:30 today. But after got the information to the families, after seeing news in the TVs that families of people whose families have been to pilgrimage to Umrah now came to the travel agent in Maidipatnam, and they are trying to take out know about their family members' details who have been to the Umrah for a pilgrimage. So now they are trying to take out the details. However, the Telangana Chief Minister has put a special control room for this pilgrimage for people who have been to Umrah pilgrimage. So now all the details will be shared in some time. This is what we heard from the officials. But till now, nothing has been come out from the officials. But definitely, the family members of the people who have been to Umrah are really panicked now. The situation is tense at the Maidipatnam. The people are trying to, ask the travel agent whether they know how their family members are. Their mobile numbers are not working yet since early morning, 4 to 5 a.m. They are trying to contact their family members, but however, the family members the mobile phones are unable to reach. So with the panic situation, they have came to the travel agent and trying to inquire about how the family members who have been to health commission is trying to take out the details from them. Shivani.
Absolutely, Raj. Please do stay on with us. Another family member of a victim has spoken on the details of the incident. He stated that there is only one member left alive out of all the people in the bus, namely Mohammad Sohaib. He stated that they left last week on Sunday, and he states as well that he has not received any information about his relatives, not even from the travel agencies that they used for this. Another family member made a statement. He stated that he does not know if they will receive the dead bodies or not. There were 18 to 20 people from their locality itself in the bus. These statements are of course highly devastating. Let's listen in to what else they had to say.
17 मेंबर से हमारा काफिला जो गया, तो मक्के से मदीना जा रहे थे लोग। 25 किलोमीटर पहले लोग का एक्सीडेंट हो गया। इसमें जो एक मेंबर बचा बोल रहे हैं मोहम्मद शोएब, बाकी पूरे हो गए बोल के। कुछ भी इतला नहीं है वहाँ से, सिर्फ खाली एक्सपायर हो गए बोल के वीडियो आ रहे हैं बस। उतना वहाँ गवर्नमेंट से कुछ भी इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, ट्रैवल एजेंट से भी कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, बस इतना ही है।
All right, Raj. So over here we have a different set of relatives who are stating that they have not received any information. They even tried to contact the travel agency through which they had actually planned their entire travel to Saudi Arabia. However, there has been no information from anywhere for them, Raj.
Shivani, as a travel agent, has released exclusively, NewsX got the details of the 45 passengers who are billed to Umrah from the particular travel agencies in Hyderabad. They have released 45 names of the travel people who have been to Umrah, in which 42 were claiming that 42 people were on board, 43 people were on board, and one person who was somehow managed to come out of that fire accident and came out and called to the people, the relatives in Hyderabad. So now the family members of the pilgrimage people who have been to Umrah are panicked now. They are trying to talk to their family members over the phone, but however the mobile phones are switched off. And also, a few of the family members says that the people who are injured in that have been shifted to local hospital in Riyadh. The three different hospitals. We are waiting for the details whether how their family members are, and all the details has to be revealed by the External Affairs Ministry. So now Telangana Chief Minister also ordered the Chief Secretary of Telangana to talk to the External Affairs Minister, and the External Affairs Minister Jay Shankar also tweeted about these details that he has in constant touch with the Riyadh and Saudi embassy, the people who are went to the pilgrimage, and all the details has been taken from that. The rescue operation is going on in now the rescue operation is going now, and we also learned from the sources that few of them are in a hospital undergoing treatment. Whether how many people exactly died in this are still yet to be officially known. But however, the family members of the pilgrimage, one of the family members says that nobody have alive, everybody has died. Only one person who has managed to escape from this spoke to me over the phone. This is what we have heard from the family members of the pilgrimage.
All right, Raj. Thank you so much for all those updates on that story. That's it from us on this bulletin. We are slipping into this commercial break.